welcome back to another edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse. And let me address a couple things here that I didn't address. I guess it was a week ago we lost David Johansen to cancer. I think he was like 74. And David was a big part of New York, the New York Dolls, and he was a real, actually, it's a shame he didn't get more roles because he was actually became a decent character actor in a couple things. But unfortunately, we had to say goodbye about a week ago, and shit gets sadder for some reason. I met a woman years ago at the convention. She was a fixture there. I think she was a guest rep named Karen Valentine. Not the Karen Valentine from any of those TV series. Her name was really Karen Valentine. Well, last week she posted on Facebook that she is diagnosed with terminal cancer, for lack of better words, and has 3 months to a month to be with us. Of course, that fucking hit me a little bit hard, and I reached out. You don't know what to say in these instances, but being that we did spend some time hanging out and shit, I emailed her basically and said, Karen, I don't know what to say. All I can say is I wish you a peaceful transition. And she got back and said, yeah, I know. I thank you for that. And she goes, we'll continue this on the other side. And honestly, I'm so fucking tired of saying goodbyes here. It's fucking sad, and I've said too many of them in the past couple of years. But anyway, on to other things. I had brought up Tommy the Shoplifter on the last video, and somebody said, oh, cool, you had a friend named Tommy the Shoplifter. Well, I met Tommy. I knew his brother. His brother was in the same class that I was in, and his brother was more of a rock and roll guy. Tommy was more of a guy that collected magazines, like, I said. So, anyway, when we were going to school, there was these two guys that basically had what they thought was an underground porn business. They were basically selling copies of Playboy and nudist camp magazines, which were really fucking rare back then. So, we had talked to these guys, and, I don't know if we bought anything or not, but we walked away saying, it's kind of fucking lame. Now, like I said, Tommy was a shoplifter. So we were down on Main Street in Orange, and there was maybe 4 or 5 newsstand magazine stores type things. So Tommy decided to go on a binge, and he needed me to go on this binge because I'm not innocent in this. I benefited. Basically, I would take something up to the counter and buy it while he basically grabbed 10 or 20 magazines and shoved them down his pants and pulled up his shirt. And then while I was, at the counter buying something, he'd walk out and then I'd leave. Well, we pulled this shit like 4 fucking times. And on the 4th time, we got caught. We didn't get caught in the store. They must have seen something, known something. They called the cops. So as we're walking up this alley behind Main Street, behind the stores, we see a couple squad cars looking around. And they're driving slowly and they're looking down the alley. And then it dawned on us that, we got made. So we found a place to ditch the whole stash, which was considerable at this point. And Tommy lived close by, so he started to walk home. I walked out to the main drag and hitchhiked home because I lived a little bit a ways. So a couple days, we went back later and we split the stash. Now, the whole reason for this is we had no sex ed back then, so we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And of course this was, and hey, let's be honest, this was wanking material. So, we would have this stuff, use it, and then swap it around, and then basically sell it to those less fortunate than we are at a total profit. And then I would go over to New York and buy other stuff. And the stuff that we had, of course there was Playboy, but around that time there was knockoffs, other things. And we have a pile of them right here. We had Man to Man. Sir. Real for Men. Climax. Rogue. And there was others called Nugget and Gent, but of course we had this one that came out in '65, an early issue of Screw, which you had to go to New York to get. So we had all this shit, and honestly, that sort of was my origins as a smut peddler, which hasn't stopped in over 5 decades now. No, actually more. When you figure I was probably around 16 when I started that shit, and then I was selling 8mm stags. Actually, I was hustling in junior high. I got busted for selling fireworks, individual firecrackers, because I would take a pack and loosen it all up and basically sell these things to kids for, I guess, I don't know, 10 cents a piece. And I got busted, and I got caught, and I got reprimanded. The other stuff I never got caught for. So, like I said, Tommy was pretty good at this shit. And especially with records, because there was a place called EJ Corvettes that had a record section. So the way it would work was I'd go in and buy a record, he'd go in and buy a record, and then we'd wander around with the bags, and I'd find another album I wanted, he'd find another album he wanted, I'd give him my bag, he would put the two albums between the two bags, and we would walk out. So yeah, I was not innocent in this, I benefited, but you know, I was never into really doing that type of shit. You know, got to the point where, you know, I graduated 8mm stag films and regular porn books, and, you know, that was my launching pad, so to speak. But as far as actually stealing shit myself, nah, wasn't into that. I mean, if somebody else did something and I'd buy it, that was another thing, but nah, I wasn't personally into doing shit like that. I know a lot of people were, but it wasn't me. And I don't know what happened to Tom. You know, he just, we sort of parted company after high school like I did with a lot of people, because I was going in one direction, completely down, and they were going another direction, completely up. So that's the way it was. But, yeah, like I said, no sex education back then. You know, we had those, and like, you know, Playboy had the girls we knew we'd never get. And these other ones had girls that maybe we could get, but screw, well, you could get those girls. That was a given. That screw was bottom of the barrel at that point, and they admitted it. So, yeah, that's how it sort of started, and, you know, it still continues to today. And just a big shout out to anybody who bought during our last Black Friday sale. Thank you very much. The sale was a success. You guys got some sweet deals. I got a paycheck coming, which I could use, and it's all good. And another big thank you, that I don't do this often enough because I've been distracted with all the crap going on, to thefuseboxshow.com, because we still got a Grindhouse moment on there every month, different show, and they still maintain my website. And like I said, up until the end of March, anything I sell off the website, I'm giving the profit, not the profits, the proceeds, to help the people in Ukraine who are getting fucked over because we have an asshole in charge that doesn't want to support them and rather kiss Putin's ass. But that's for another show with the crazy old man. So until next time, stay safe. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. On a footnote, both dogs seem to be doing okay, so fingers crossed on that. So until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.